Good evening and welcome to the Redbank Main Street Sports Show from the Haskell House live. This is Dave Cadis. I'm hosting tonight for a couple of our partners who aren't available, so you got the first team, as we say, basically. So really looking forward to our guests tonight. We have lots to talk about. We're at the end of the semester, and I'm really pleased. If I had to fill in for one show, this is a great one. I have the head wrestling coach at Clarion, Keith Ferraro, with us tonight. And Coach, welcome to Clarion and welcome to the Haskell House.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
We have a big history together, and we're going to go over that a little bit as we get through. We got the weather is in our favor now and everything.
Pretty
it looks
nice
like
out there.
That's right. We started off the opening day of shorts today, so that's a big thing. I'm sure we're at the end of the semester now. A lot of nervous coaches up at that athletic department. The finals will end tomorrow. There's actually a final Friday night at 6 o'clock, if you can believe it, with this new changeover with Penn West and everything. So I'm sure you got your guys all set up for A's and B's this semester.
Well, they say they have A's and B's. We'll see soon.
Yeah, when those final grades come out, coaches get a little nervous, man.
Yeah.
They like calling and saying, hey, how's Jimmy doing? How's Jennifer doing? And all that kind of stuff. So we try to push them in the right direction with everything. So, yeah, it is towards the end of the semester. A couple things I wanted to bring up as far as the university is concerned. We've had a really stellar year with all the assistant coaches and head coaches that have been in this year, getting a chance to see the program a little bit and giving your programs a lot of exposure, which I think is really important for our local community. Everybody's been really positive. It's been great meeting a lot of the individual student athletes and everything else. So, but as the semester wraps up, there's one gentleman I do want to mention, Greg Fritz, who is the women's golf coach at Clarion, is going to retire. And Greg is a Brookville guy, and you know him quite well.
Yeah, I grew up, when I played golf, I played at Pinecrest, and he was the pro there then. And then when the job opened up, he had retired at Pinecrest for the women's coaching job here. So he applied and got it. And I've been close with his sons for a long time. We're good friends, and I wish him the best in his retirement. And I know he's looking forward to spending more time with his grandchildren, and he's going to go on some hunting trips with his boys. So he's got some cool stuff planned.
He's done a really good job of stabilizing the women's golf program at Clarion, and I got a chance to see a really neat thing about him last week. The women's team played in the PSAC championships, and on the 18th hole, he walked up every one of the holes with every one of his young ladies who finished up the tournament. And I know they have a lot of good things to say about Greg, and we wish him the best of luck in retirement, and hopefully he can enjoy himself and stay out of the hustle and bustle of recruiting and buses and budgets and all of those sort of things. The other thing I wanted to mention, this afternoon, Golden Eagle baseball team was in action. They had the opportunity to, I believe, knock Slippery Rock out of the playoffs today if they won both games down at Memorial Stadium. They lost the first game 9-1, and the University baseball team came back to close out their season with a 4-3 record overall. So congratulations to Coach Caleb. He was on our show this past year with a couple of his players, and they finished up with a stellar season. A lot of wins for the baseball team. I think he's going to be a good young man, and I think he's going to turn that program over pretty well. And successful the softball season, and I believe some of the track young ladies are still competing in the PSAC championships and everything. So it's been a relatively pretty good spring for the Golden Eagle athletic department, and you guys you got to worry about. You still doing a few things there and everything?
Yeah, we're actually training full tilt right now in our free. This is like the second part of our season after the NCAA tournament is all freestyle wrestling. That's the Olympic style of wrestling, and we'll end that right around Memorial Day at the U23 World Team Trials. So we trained pretty hard right up until that point, and it's actually nice once the final. It is stressful when the grades are coming out, but once they're posted, all our guys have to worry about for the next few weeks is they just train and get ready for that event. So
that's good.
It's kind of a nice time to just have some team building and just wrestle
and do some things. Yeah. Okay, we're going to come back and we're going to get a little more in depth with Coach Ferraro here. We're going to be talking about all kind of different issues as far as Division I wrestling is concerned, their membership in the MAC, how the season went this year, maybe some big recruits coming along the line, and that sort of stuff. So we'll be back after this. You're watching the Main Street Sports Show, sponsored by Redbank Chevrolet.
Welcome to 12 Series, a veteran-owned and operated company. Want to stand out amongst the crowd? this is the brand for you. They have apparel that ranges from cardio tanks and hoodies to sweat noggin covers. The apparel isn't just designed for the gym, it's designed for everyday life. Whether at work, the range, or at a family outing, 12 Series will turn heads. Find and like 12 Series on Facebook and Instagram.
No matter how cold it is outside, you can keep warm and toasty inside with a built-in-the-USA super efficient furnace from Luton's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Affordable, quiet, and reliable. You can count on your furnace from Luton's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Protect your home or business from all those sneaky pests. Give Hugh Henry's Pest Management a call at 814-316-1875 or check them out online at bugguy.com. Pest Management, where nature and technology meet.
You can afford a gorgeous, custom-designed hardwood Kale's kitchen for a lot less than you'd pay at a DIY store. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. At Kale's, there are never middleman markups or hidden charges that can add 40%. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. That's FactoryDirectKitchens.net.
Clarion Forest VNA believes the emotional and physical well-being of a patient is enhanced by the patient receiving care in the familiar surroundings of home. Their staff of caring professionals work closely with physicians to administer quality care to meet the needs of each individual. As a pioneer in home health care in Clarion and Forest County, Clarion Forest VNA continue to grow to meet the community's need for in-home care, offering many different services and programs to meet the patient's need. Clarion Forest VNA, located at 271 Perkins Road in Clarion. Call us toll-free at 1-800-262-2118.
Keith Ferraro a little bit, and format of the show, we're going to go back and we're going to talk about some national headlines now for a little bit, get people brought up to date on what's going on. I was busy with classes today, so I didn't get a chance to see too many national sports headlines, too much and everything, but let's start it off with a few things. The NBA is currently playing. I'm not a huge NBA fan, so I don't really follow too much with the NBA with everything. I'm more of a hockey fan, so I've been caught up the last couple nights with NHL hockey and watching. I want to go back home tonight and watch a big Boston Toronto game going on, and I watched Dallas and Nashville last night. So I always grew up with hockey, liked hockey a good bit, so I used to follow that an awful lot. So a lot of action. If you're just a casual hockey fan, tune into some of these games because they're pretty competitive with everything, and it's going to be a great run going into the NHL Finals. The only thing I know of the NBA, LeBron lost, and everybody's up in arms. Okay, so LeBron should quit, go to another team, all that kind of stuff. So as far as your NHL and NBA headlines and everything, so both leagues going to go starting it into round 2 and everything else. The NHL draft or the NFL draft occurred about a week ago. I was watching that over the weekend. You might have got a chance to see some of that and everything.
I did watch a little bit of it.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see everybody, and I like watching what they wear now, the dress, and everybody's got sunglasses on and everything else. So what an event, and I think one of the big things is going to be, looks like in a couple of years, Pittsburgh may get the opportunity to host the NFL draft. And I think one of the biggest reasons Pittsburgh is a big competitor now is they start having hotel rooms and they build a lot of hotels and everything. But the economic boom to something like that is going to be really, really big. So Steelers draft went really well. Pretty happy with all the draft picks and everything. We wanted to talk about one young man that the Steelers drafted, and that was Zach Frazier the center from West Virginia, and you sort of have a little bit of history with him, just a little bit of history. But tell us how it goes. What your history is.
I don't have history with him, but one of our guys on our team, one of our heavyweights, Austin Chapman. I don't remember double A. I don't remember how West Virginia is set up, but Austin won one state championship, if I remember right, and the other division, Frazier won the same year. And I think they wrestled then in the postseason at like an all-star event, or there's some type of tournament that combines both divisions. And I think Austin will be a little bummed if I mention this, but I think he might have lost to him in a close match in that event. But yeah, so he's from West Virginia, state champion, so he was a good wrestler too.
Yeah, I think he wrestled at Fairmont, I guess.
Fairmont,
something like that. The Polar Bears, I think. The Fairmont Polar Bears. That's one.
I know Fairmont for their pepperoni buns.
Oh yeah. Everybody's
my
Mary
family's
Lou.
big on those.
Mary Lou Retton's from Fairmont too, the old gymnast and stuff. But I think the Frazier kid for the Steelers, he was like 129-4, and he started like 4 years as a heavyweight wrestler and everything.
Yeah.
I got a chance to see him a little bit on YouTube and also on the old Twitter X now and everything, wrestling. He's a beast, so I think a lot of people are pretty excited about him taking over the center position for the Steelers, because they've had a dominant run with centers over the last couple of years with Mike Webster, Dermontti Dotson, and everybody else, so that's a big thing. So a lot of other things going on. The Kentucky Derby's this Saturday. We usually get together and put a little wager on that with some of our friends and everything.
Got your horse picked out?
No, I don't. No idea. No idea what's going on. We usually wait till the last minute and we pick them out of a hat, and then that's who you got for the day and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how the Kentucky Derby goes. That's another one where you can sit around and have some pops and sodas and stuff and watch the event, and it is a great event. So that's one big thing. The Penguins, talk about them a little bit. Not too much going on except for a lot of rumors. As far as Mike Sullivan is concerned, New Jersey Devils are talking a little bit to him, I guess, and I don't know if he's going to end up being the Penguins coach or not. One thing I did fail to mention was with the Steelers, let's go back, Najee Harris, the running back for the Steelers today did not come through on his fifth-year option. So this is his fourth year in the league, and this is going to be his final year with the Steelers unless they renegotiate his contract. So that was a big talk in the sports world today a little bit. So we'll see what basically happens. But with Mike Sullivan and the Penguins not making the playoffs again for the last couple of years, the Boston Fenway Group, who owns the Penguins, are going to have to regroup and see what direction they basically want to go with the team and all that kind of stuff. So so big doings there. The Pirates, I'm going to get some booze on that because they're terrible right now. I saw something on X the other day that said if you find the Pirates' backs, return them to PNC Park, because they haven't had a hit and all that kind of stuff in a long time. So they have lost 16 out of their last 21 games, which is not too good. They can't lose today because they're not playing. They start a series, a big homestand against Colorado Rockies coming up here tomorrow night. They just can't score a run or hit right now, which is really, really difficult. And big rumor with Paul Skeens, the pitcher, everybody wants him coming and everything else. And they thought he was going to be in this weekend for the series, but Indianapolis, I guess, announced that he's going to be pitching for Indianapolis on Sunday, so he can't get here sooner. Because I think the people really want to see him and how it's going to go with him and everything. So that's going to be a big thing with the Pirates. They got to do something. And you're not a real big golfer, I know, a little bit, but
I like it. I like it as much as everybody else.
Yeah,
I just don't hit them straight.
The local golf courses all opened up. A lot of people out there playing golf. I had the opportunity to go to Clarion Oaks, play a little bit yesterday. We're going to make a trip across the Sharon tomorrow and play a little golf. So get out and play some golf. Go out and walk, get some exercise, and you get an opportunity to play over at High Level or Bostonia or Pinecrest or Clarion Oaks or any other local courses. I think is a good exercise for you, and then especially with the great weather, people can go out and enjoy some of those
cold
things.
And wet. All the courses look really good.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to get back and we're going to really jump into the wrestling thing after this, after we take a break. You're watching the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show.
Dubrook, a division of M&B Group, is your trusted local ready-mix supplier for residential and commercial projects. Dubrook provides a full line of decorative concrete, as well as concrete supplies, along with a variety of concrete tools and accessories. Dubrook can provide services large or small for residential and commercial projects to contractors or homeowners. Dubrook is here to provide you with options and ideas to make planning your next project simple. Let Dubrook help you with the supplies you need to get the job done. Dubrook is proud to support our local communities with plants in Clarion, Du Bois, St. Mary's, Butler, Evans City, Bradford, and Meadville. Call 1-844-382-7665.
Hi, my name is Jason and welcome to Sweet Basil. Come on in.
You can afford a gorgeous, custom-designed hardwood Kales kitchen for a lot less than you'd pay at a DIY store. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. At Kales, there are never middleman markups or hidden charges that can add 40%. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. That's FactoryDirectKitchens.net.
Throughout West Central Pennsylvania, people are losing their glasses. Well, they haven't really lost them. They just don't need them anymore. Thanks to the amazing LASIK surgeons at Laurel Eye Clinic. Call Laurel Eye Clinic and schedule your free consultation.
This is a great show.
Hey, check out this all-new 2024 Chevrolet Trax 1RS in cacti green. Let's talk about some of those safety features. We have blind spot monitoring system, we have forward collision system with alert and brake, and we have lane departure warning as well. How about the gas mileage?
30 miles per gallon average. Yeah, it's great. Bumper-to-bumper warranty and the 5-year 60,000 mile powertrain warranty.
And check out the clarity on this backup camera on this 11-inch touchscreen. Can you believe you get all the features like heated steering wheel, heated seats, remote start, power sunroof, all for $24,900?
It's a great value in the new Chevrolet.
Hey, check out this Glacier Blue RST Silverado 4x4 Z71 4-wheel drive, 5.3 liter V8. It's a really nice sharp truck.
All LT and RST Silverados have this same interior. Got this really large touchscreen display, built-in Google Maps, heated seats, automatic climate control, heated steering wheel. We have a backup camera, really great display, and all the safety aspects. Adaptive parking, adaptive braking, pedestrian braking, blind spot mitigation.
Follow us to Redbank Chevrolet.
Back on the Redbank Valley Main Street Sports Show, Dave Cadis with you, along with head wrestling coach at Clarion, Keith Ferraro, and we talked a little bit about national headlines, wrap up to the university up there. So let's get in to wrestling. I think that's what everybody wants to basically hear with everything. So you're a young kid, okay, and you choose a path, and it's wrestling, okay? How in the world did you get to where you're at? What sparked you to get into wrestling? I think I know your answer with this, but why don't you tell everybody watching?
Well, so when I grew up, my dad was a wrestling was a phys ed teacher and a wrestling coach at Brookville. Well, he started at Ridgeway for a minute, and then Johnsonburg. A lot of people forget that. And then he was at Johnsonburg for a while, and then when I was 3, we moved to Brookville. So my whole youth wrestling experience was in Brookville, and I guess I don't really know the conversation, but I guess it was just always assumed that I would wrestle. And I started when I was about 5, in kindergarten, and did it my whole life like everybody does, you know. And my dad's advice to me was, don't be a teacher, and do something else. You can drive yourself crazy if you're a school teacher. So in the common tradition of not listening to your dad, I went and got a physical education degree and a teaching degree, and so I went and taught and coached after college and in Brookville, and then had an opportunity to come over here as Troy Letter's assistant. We were friends for years, and he got the job and had an opening, and it was time for me to look for something else. I was ready to move on from teaching at the time, and it worked out great, and here I am.
Let's go back to your dad. I knew your dad, and your dad he was a great individual. We always had district wrestling in Tippin Gymnasium back in those days, and we'd always see Lenny walk in, and he had the hip things going, and left, right, and I can remember him on the side of the mat. He was actually like wrestling the match. He was coaching his kid, but he was out there wrestling the match for the kid and everything. But big influence on you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds, I guess, cliche if you talk about your dad and you say, oh, he was awesome, but he was really good at what he did, and I think you'll find thousands of people out there that'll kind of tell you the same kind of thing about him, and he was very impactful in a lot of people's lives, and I'm constantly talking to people who, they may have moved away and they come back and they're always asking, how the family is, and they always say something about the kind of impact my dad had on their lives as wrestlers and as students, and yeah, I mean, it does make you feel good, to know that that he was such an important part of people's lives, and he was good. And when you grow up in a house with somebody like that, I guess it's natural to kind of be interested in doing what they do. And
we lost them too young.
Yeah,
that was the big thing. I think he had so many other bigger plans out there, but what he left, the legacy he left with you, and a lot of other wrestlers over at Brookville and Johnsonburg and Ridgeway, because that's great wrestling territory. I remember being here in the 80s and 90s, and oh my gosh, the amount of wrestlers that left those high schools and went into Division I schools was incredible during that time. And it still is a good, solid wrestling area. There's no doubt about that. But so you go through, and then you decide you're in high school, you wrestle in high school, and you decide you're going to go over to Lock Haven, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, so you mentioned my dad died young. It was in the middle of our season, my junior year, my dad died. So, it was definitely not like an ideal time to lose your dad, your coach, and your teacher, and all that at once. But so I knew I wanted to wrestle in college, and I was in love at the time, and ended up marrying my high school sweetheart. So Lock Haven was a great fit for both of us. We wanted to go to school together, and that was definitely part of my decision. And I wanted to stay home. My mom was at the time, she just lost her husband, so I was it was important to me to be around. My brother and sister had moved on, so I was like kind of the last kid left, and so I tried to stay local, and Lock Haven really was a good fit, and I enjoyed it there a lot.
Yeah.
Now they're the enemies, but it was a good fit for me, and I had a great experience there, and got a good degree, and felt like I was educated well, and came back to the area to coach here. And
you were at Brookville. Okay, so you were at Brookville, and then, as you mentioned, Troy Letters brings you on as an assistant coach here, okay? And not to go off the rails here and everything, but I just happened to be the AD at that time, okay? And so we go through Troy Letters. I think Matt Dernland before Troy, right? I think Matt Dernland was before Troy.
Yeah.
And then we had Troy, and you're the assistant coach, and then Troy leaves to pursue other interests. And our lifespan of coaches was very, very within a year or so here, okay? Yeah. So we're all together. It's like, okay, we tried the Penn State guy, we tried this guy, really great wrestler and everything else like that. We need to get some stability in this program. So we get the committee together, and the godfather of wrestling, Coach Bub, of course, we sit down. I remember Coach Bub and I having a conversation. It's like, we need to get somebody into the program who's stable and that can take this program to the next level. Your name came up, okay? So it's like, oh man, I got Division I program here. I got all these wrestling alumni. We got Pin Club and everybody else, and wanted to get the big shot guy from Iowa. We want to get the big shot guy from Oklahoma, Michigan, one of those guys. And I go to the table with a high school resume, assistant coach Keith Ferraro, okay? And we contact you and say, hey, we're kind of interested in that. Do you remember that? What do you recall from that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I definitely was a unusual hire, you know, especially with all the pressures I'm sure that you dealt with and all the voices you heard during that time. But, you know, I guess looking back on the moment we were in and the moment the program was in, your assessment was right. I mean, we needed some stability, and there was just, I think I was the fourth coach hired in a 5-year window.
That's exactly right. It was.
You know, that hurts. That's devastating for a program, and just like little micro things happen in each turnover. You know, the camps kind of fell apart, and that's a great example of what turnover does. Just because, you know, people worked really hard to keep them up during that time. But we talked a little bit about that before the show. But that was a time where the program definitely needed somebody that they could count on being back for a few years, and I thought it was a good move, honestly, and I appreciated the opportunity, and it meant a lot to me. And yeah, I mean, I remember when I actually got hired, just thinking like, I can't believe that the way it works and how I ended up here. You know, after you know, most of the people who are in Division I head coaching positions, that they know for a fact when they graduate from college, they have a one-track mind and they will move anywhere on planet Earth to get that job, and they are pursuing it full tilt. And I didn't.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to just fall into the right situation and be the right guy at the right time, I guess.
We needed a hero. There's a song. We need a hero. And you know, I was getting calls nationally from all over the place for this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. And I never went off their recommendations. I sort of stayed on the track and had a lot of good wrestling people surround me, because I don't think as an AD you can make that decision by yourself, because I don't have a wrestling background. My background, you know, when I got hired as AD, is a football guy, okay? So you surround yourself with some good people, and they lead you in the right direction. And I know it's almost like one of those closed doors meetings, like at the draft, you know, they got all the coaches in there, all the administrators and everybody else. It's like, all right, what are we going to do here? Let's make a decision, okay? And then it's like, you know, I'm ready to offer Keith the job. And what you've done is, you talked about the program really had a tough time. You've evolved that program so much now that it's a vibrant program again, and you've taken it from I don't want to say the ashes, but you've moved it up to a competitive program. Now, we're competitive in the conference too. You mentioned Lock Haven, because Lock Haven, Bloomsburg, and Edinburgh are the final remaining Division I programs in the conference. How do you see that stability there? Do you see stability with those 3 other programs and you guys staying at that Division I level? It's got to be tough right now, because people talk to me, they say, I don't know why we're Division I. We're Penn State, Iowa, Oklahoma. We got all these schools. You know, we could, you know. And I say, yeah. Well, that's the way the program needs to go, because if we're Division II, we could win a national championship with what we got now.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is, and maybe I shouldn't look at it this way, but I feel that my top priority in my role is to make sure that doesn't change.
Yeah.
And I need to put myself in positions where people have the information they need to make the right decision on that topic. I feel very strongly that it's an incredible thing that this small community has to have a Division I wrestling team,
which is great.
And and it's special, and it means a whole lot to people, more than you could ever express on a show like this. And the truth is, you know, even when we're down, you know, we're not maybe making headlines every season right now, but we still are very relevant. We just had an All-American at the NCAA tournament, and you know, that's big for our university. And I just think it's interesting, the arrangement right now, because we're grandfathered in wrestling is grandfathered in at the Division I level, as it is at the other 3 institutions you mentioned.
Right.
That's a one-time deal. So this isn't like something that we can dip our toes in the water over here and see how it goes. this is something that I take very seriously, and we need to make sure that we do what we got to do to stay at the Division I level and remain relevant. And I think the MAC is a great place.
Yeah, I want to get to that.
Yeah, I just think it's good for us. It's definitely not one of the strongest conferences relative to the national landscape, but we're competitive. I think if we put it together and we get some investment from our alumni, we absolutely have a program that can win that tournament. But I think it's special, and I think like the one thing you mentioned about if we took what we had now, how great we'd be at the Division II level. It's hard to explain in a brief period of time, but I think we would actually be a worse Division II program than Division I, and the reason is the thing that makes us unique and sets us apart is we're in Pennsylvania where there's a lot of good wrestling.
Absolutely.
And people come to Clarion because they want the Division I experience at a small school. So that's what makes us unique. If we were to happen to be a Division II team, I don't think we have that unique thing. I think we just become another Division II program, and I think that we would have a tough time.
I'm going to bottle about 6 minutes of what you just talked about and put it on my computer. So when people ask me that, I'm going to just say, "Hey, listen, he's got an excellent response to this and an excellent answer." And we'll talk more about that after a break. Let's take a quick time out. We'll be back with more of the Redbank Valley Chevrolet sports show. You're watching it on EYT.
Welcome to 12 Series, a veteran-owned and operated company. Want to stand out amongst the crowd? This is the brand for you. They have apparel that ranges from cardio tanks and hoodies to sweat noggin covers. The apparel isn't just designed for the gym, it's designed for everyday life. Whether at work, the range, or at a family outing, 12 Series will turn heads. Find and like 12 Series on Facebook and Instagram.
No matter how cold it is outside, you can keep warm and toasty inside with a built-in-the-USA super efficient furnace from Luton's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Affordable, quiet, and reliable. You can count on your furnace from Luton's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Hey Julie, nice deck! Did you get that at Tio Nesta Builder Supply?
It's Tio Nesta Builder Supply, and yes, Dave, I did.
Wonder if they sell siding and roofing at Tio Nesta Builder Supply.
It's Tio Nesta, and yes, Tio Nesta Builder Supply has that too. Come on, Dave. You've never been there? They have 2 showrooms for anything home improvement. Mom got a custom kitchen there. Bill down the street got the materials for his garage. They have this awesome website, www.tionestabuilders.us. You can buy online. They really have everything for the home.
Wow! I'm heading over to Tio Nesta. I know. Tio Nesta Builders.
Tio Nesta Builder Supply Home Improvement Center. Family owned and operated since 1958 with locations in Tio Nesta and Shippensville.
That sounds good. I'll check them out online at tionestabuilders.us.
Throughout West Central Pennsylvania, people are losing their glasses. Well, they haven't really lost them. They just don't need them anymore. Thanks to the amazing LASIK surgeons at Laurel Eye Clinic. Call Laurel Eye Clinic and schedule your free consultation.
Clarion Forest VNA believes the emotional and physical well-being of a patient is enhanced by the patient receiving care in the familiar surroundings of home. Their staff of caring professionals work closely with physicians to administer quality care to meet the needs of each individual. As a pioneer in home health care in Clarion and Forest County, Clarion Forest VNA continue to grow to meet the community's need for in-home care, offering many different services and programs to meet the patient's need. Clarion Forest VNA, located at 271 Perkins Road in Clarion. Call us toll-free at 1-800-262-2118.
You can afford a gorgeous, custom-designed hardwood Kale's kitchen for a lot less than you'd pay at a DIY store. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. At Kale's, there are never middleman markups or hidden charges that can add 40%. Go to FactoryDirectKitchens.net. That's FactoryDirectKitchens.net.
Welcome back to the Redbank Valley, or the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show at the Haskell Haas. Dave Cadis along with Keith Ferraro. And Coach, we were just talking a little bit about Division I and the wrestling and all of that kind of stuff. I remember the first match I came to when I played basketball in high school. I didn't know wrestling. I didn't know what was. Even though Jack Irwin, I think Jackie might have been a wrestling coach back then at Penn Trafford High School and stuff like that. But we never got a chance to see wrestling because we were always playing basketball that night, or vice versa. So I get to Clarion. A couple guys said, "Hey, we got to go over to Tippin and watch a match." And so the first match I've ever been to in Tippin Gymnasium, I walk in. I remember walking in the corner of the gym. There's like 5,000 people in the bleachers. We're wrestling Penn State, okay? Penn State, okay? In Tippin Gym, okay? We're really good. We're coming off all these All-Americans and everything else, so we're real good in wrestling. The place is rocking. I think we even had a band in there at that time. Yeah. And our heavyweight had to not lose the match in order to tie Penn State. Well, he did what he needed to do, and we tied Penn State. Place went crazy, and ever since then it was like, I'm going to like every wrestling match. This is great. And we had North Carolina in there and Army in there and everybody else when I was AD, which was, I think Lehigh was in there. Oklahoma State, I think, wrestled us in Tippin, and it was something really a big thing. And that's why I think it's vibrant, and I think we should continue to do it, basically, and support the program with things. You've built a good program. We talked a little bit about the MAC. You think it's a great place for us to be at, a great conference to be in, and we're successful since we've joined the MAC a few years ago with everything. You can't be successful without a good coaching staff. Tell us a little bit about some of your coaches and where they came from and how they impact you.
Yeah, well, you mentioned about surrounding yourself with good people that you can count on, and that's what I've tried to do all along with our staff. And so what I learned is that it's, we love Clarion, this place is great, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't want to move to a small town. A lot of people they don't see the value in it the way that we do. And it has been hard over the years hiring, and when I have an opening, I got to really hustle. I probably have to work quite a bit harder than other coaches to fill positions. And fortunately, we got to a point where, a guy who I had coached, who I knew had coaching, a lot of great coaching skill set, and that's proven to be true. Brock Zockerl has joined the staff, and he's doing a great job, and he loves it here. He grew up in the area, and of course, Coach Deloy has been with us for a number of years now, and he's a very knowledgeable coach. He knows a lot about wrestling. He studies it constantly, and he's extremely valuable to us. And we just added to the staff in the last year Coach DeLong, who also wrestled at Clarion. So, basically we have a whole staff of Clarion guys now that are committed to being here for the long term, and it helps. It helps us to have that consistency that you were looking for years ago, and that I'm constantly looking for, because I think it leads to success in a lot of ways. To know that people are in place that are happy to be here and want to be doing it, and build relationships with the people in the community. It's a big deal.
Well, I think stability is really important. Sometimes we look outside and we want the big shiny object out there and everything else, but with you from Brookville, Nick's from Brookville too, correct?
Yep.
Nick and Brock is from Brookville, and Evan, I believe, is from Kane. And Evan was here. I remember Evan roomed with my son John the first year, so got to know Evan pretty well and everything. Right. He's a great young man, and you got some stability in the program, because you're going to get those kids in District 9 and District 10 that are coming out of here that are pretty good wrestlers in certain weight classes and stuff. And you want to make sure you put up that fence around District 9, District 10 and get those kids here. Can you comment a couple of the local kids that you have on the team right now?
Yeah, we actually had a run there where we had a whole lot of Brookville kids.
Yeah.
The guys who do really well are not only just the local guys, but we have a lot of guys from the Whitfield. As from your time here and your time coaching, and currently, I bet you a third of our team is from the WPIL, which I love that, because it's a great wrestling area. Probably the most local guy would be Ethan Wyatt, our 197-pounder from last year. He had a great year for us finally. He grew a lot to get in the lineup and finally got in there, and he's a great. You have him in class.
I have him in
thinking
class.
so.
Yeah.
You know, he's a great guy. He makes us proud. So, that going back to our earlier discussion, is part of what is so special about our program. It's that we can. Now we will always have out-of-state guys, but we can focus on the western part of the state. These people that they're able to come to our matches, they watched these guys growing up. They watched them in high school, and to be able to put a Division I lineup together that's competitive with those local guys, for the most part, I just think there's not a lot of places in the country that can do that, and especially in a small personal setting like Clarion.
When you talk about Western Pennsylvania, I mean, you're talking about Division I schools. If you want to go over to the mountain and say Penn State, they're going to get their guys. They're going to get their guys. And then the University of Pittsburgh, they've had a big resurgence in wrestling for the last 10 years. They've done a really good job with everything. West Virginia down there, the old Edinburgh coach still.
Coach Flynn.
Coach Flynn, Tim Flynn still the coach.
And he's doing a really good. He's got it rolling. He's doing a great job there.
Yeah. So beyond that, there's not. We're there. I mean, Edinburgh, we have to compete with recruiting. I'm sure you and Lockhaven are tying up a good bit. Bloomsburg's over on that east side and everything, so I don't think you can cross them up too much or anything. But I think it's important you try to get those kids in a setting that they're going to feel good about. Small campus, everything else. We just did the renovation to Tippin.
Yeah.
My gosh, if you haven't been in Tippin Gymnasium to see the wrestling facility, you need to sneak up there. So you might tell me you have my permission to sneak in and see the wrestling room up there, because there's a tribute to Coach Bub up there and all the national champions that we've had up there, and the wrestling room is just fantastic. Comment on that a little bit.
It's very nice. I mean, it's not only bigger and new, but it looks really good, and it's something we're proud of. When you were still in Tippin, and we had the yellow room, and there was, we took pride in it, I guess. It was a unique room that people knew. It was definitely people from around the country had all been in that room and seen it. But I'll be honest, we weren't proud of it. When we had a recruit on campus, you didn't really want to show them a lot of that stuff.
Well, you didn't want to show them that. You didn't want to show them the weight room.
The weight room's down there.
The weight room's down there. You don't want to go down. That sort of thing. And then you have the water and the mold issues and everything else, and the ceiling panels falling out and everything else. So I think the university and the community can be proud that you can bring recruits in and see a first-class facility. And I think it turned out really, really well at that point with everything. So
the people in the community will appreciate hearing this. So we bring in hundreds of recruits on tours each year.
You do. I mean, I look out my window and there's always Coach DeLoy or Coach Zock was always walking through recruits. You guys, I think you bring, out of all the teams, I think you have kids up every week, at least 3 times a week, a week, that sort of thing. So
we do, and football is working really hard, bringing a lot of guys in too as well. But in all the teams, you see them all doing tours. But we sit them down at the end of the tour, and we always ask them and their parents, "What'd you think of campus?" And what surprised you about it? And you wouldn't believe how many of them say, "I expected an old rundown campus and everything was really nice and new."
Right.
And they almost all say it. And we all look at each other as a staff like they said it again.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to figure out a way. This is larger for the community and not just a wrestling thing. We have to figure out a way to express that to people who are looking for a college, that whatever the instinct is with our campus isn't really accurate. It's a much nicer campus than people think when they hear Clarion University or Penn West Clarion. So we've got to do some work to fix that. But that's always the response every time we sit them down.
Well, yeah, they say we thought it was an old rundown facility. If you get the summer kids that come up and everything, and they're here for the summer, and you ask them what was the best part of campus, and they always answer ice cream.
Yeah,
we have the best ice cream in the league, basically, with everything. So we'll be back with more with Coach Ferraro on the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show right after this.
Throughout West Central Pennsylvania, people are losing their glasses. Well, they haven't really lost them. They just don't need them anymore. Thanks to the amazing LASIK surgeons at Laurel Eye Clinic. Call Laurel Eye Clinic and schedule your free consultation.
Welcome to 12 Series, a veteran-owned and operated company. Want to stand out amongst the crowd? This is the brand for you. They have apparel that ranges from cardio tanks and hoodies to sweat noggin covers. The apparel isn't just designed for the gym, it's designed for everyday life. Whether at work, the range, or at a family outing, 12 Series will turn heads. Find and like 12 Series on Facebook and Instagram.
This is a great show.
Hey, check out this all-new 2024 Chevrolet Trax 1RS in cacti green. Let's talk about some of those safety features. We have blind spot monitoring system, we have forward collision system with alert and brake, and we have lane departure warning as well. How about the gas mileage?
30 miles per gallon average. Yeah, it's great. Bumper-to-bumper warranty and the 5-year 60,000 mile powertrain warranty.
And check out the clarity on this backup camera on this 11-inch touchscreen. Can you believe you get all the features like heated steering wheel, heated seats, remote start, power sunroof, all for $24,900?
It's a great value in the new Chevrolet.
Hey, check out this Glacier Blue RST Silverado 4x4 Z71 four-wheel drive, 5.3 liter V8. It's a really nice, sharp truck.
All LT and RST Silverados have this same interior. Got this really large touchscreen display, built-in Google Maps, heated seats, automatic climate control, heated steering wheel. We have a backup camera, really great display,
and all the safety aspects. Adaptive parking, adaptive braking, pedestrian braking, blind spot mitigation.
Follow us to Redbank Chevrolet.
Back on the Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show tonight with Coach Ferraro here. And Keith, let's talk big picture a little bit, okay? One of the most impressive things to me was I got the job as AD in the first year or so. I didn't get the opportunity to go to Wrestling Nationals. Either we didn't have a qualifier or the program was not there at that point, but I had the opportunity, I think in year 3 to go my first Wrestling Nationals. It was freaking amazing. I remember sitting in Des Moines, Iowa, and seeing this, and the Penn State fans and the Iowa fans and everything else. I'm like, why have I not come here all my life? This is unbelievable and stuff like that. I put a run in the entire time as AD, but the people that go crazy over wrestling and attend the Nationals and everything, I had the greatest opportunity to see the Robles kid, I can't forget his first name. Anthony Robles, wrestle in Philadelphia at the Spectrum National Championship. This is the young man, had one leg and wrestled and won. We're 5 rows off of the main mat. And when people ask me, oh, you're a football guy, what was the greatest football? I guess, listen, I saw him wrestle at Wrestling Nationals. That trumps every football memory that I have, basically, because that is a huge thing. I think it still is. I think ESPN has gone on board and broadcast the wrestling semifinals and finals. The state of wrestling right now, where do you see it? Let's just stay with the Division I end with it.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it. So when somebody asks that question, I always think about this. Sean Fagan, actually, when we interviewed him for the SID job years ago, he brought this quote up. So there's a Jerry Garcia from the Grateful Dead. Jerry Garcia's quote that he said, the dead is like black licorice. Not very many people like black licorice, but the people that like it really like it.
Really like it.
And that's
great.
The way wrestling is, right? That's the
You're
way
right.
the
You're
people
exactly right.
In that arena at the NCAA tournament, they really are like that. And it's a huge thing for them. They, the people that there's 17 to 21,000 seats at each of those events, and those people, a lot of them go back every year, and that's a thing they do with their son moves away and gets a job. They may meet there every year as a homecoming with their son, and you see all kinds of different arrangements. But if you haven't been to an NCAA championship, if you're into the sport of wrestling, you have to go to one. It is an incredible experience, and it sells out every year, and it's definitely a pretty special thing. And that's why, when you ask the question about what it means for Clarion to have the opportunity to do that,
right.
When you go to that event and you see how big of a deal it really is, and you see ESPN on every mat, and all those are broadcast, and what that does for a university to be on primetime television in a Clarion singlet, those are big. That's a big thing. And we've had guys in the Olympics. Becksod's going back to the Olympics again. That's a guy that represents this university, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that is, because you remember back in the days when Kurt was here, in Rob Eider, we supported those guys going to the wrestling champions. You run a pretty good golf tournament every year. This past year, Kurt Angle showed up. Tell us a little bit about this golf tournament and how people can get involved if they're interested.
Yeah, so second Friday in August each year, our Friends of Clarion Wrestling, that's our fundraising group that runs our regional training center. They host a golf scramble, and it fills every year, so it's hard to get in. But if you don't get in, you can come play cornhole. We have a cornhole tournament. We have a big social the night before, so it's a great opportunity. It has become, I guess, the unofficial homecoming for wrestling in August. So it's always a good time to get. There's a lot of guys that come to that. I see them once a year, and that's at the event that we see them at.
Because you have some loyal alumni that come back, and some pretty good donors and contributors that come to that too. Yeah. We're getting near the end of the show, but I want to bring up a topic with you, and I want to see how much leverage, how many legs it has. Basically, it's the state of now. We're talking about women coming into wrestling. Brookville sponsors a women's wrestling team. Redbank sponsors a women's wrestling team in high school. Basically, how much traction are you seeing that at the collegiate level now?
Oh, it's the fastest growing sport. I think officially the fastest growing sport at the high school and collegiate level. And truthfully, this is a controversial topic, so I have to be really careful how I say this. There is criticism in the sport of wrestling of the way Title IX was enforced in athletics. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of wrestling proponents who feel that rather than increase opportunity for women, which was the intention of Title IX, what we did was reduce opportunity for men, and wrestling became the target. And there were hundreds of Division I wrestling programs lost during that time.
Mm-hmm. Slippery Rock had to drop.
That was one of them.
Yep.
And the irony, I think it's just great that the thing that will save men's wrestling in the end will probably be women's wrestling. And that to me is just like, that's what should happen. That's what Title IX's about. And women want to wrestle. I mean, they've proven it. We are proving it through the massive increase in participation each year at the high school level. And that will breed a lot of great girls who are ready to go to the college level and be successful. So it's actually happening faster than you would naturally think it could.
And I think from an athletic director standpoint, it's fantastic, because right now you probably have close to 33, 34 on your roster or something like that. If you could bring 33, 34 women in to participate in a college wrestling team, we might be able to go down Memorial Stadium and add 35 men's soccer players. And increase revenue for the university. Right now you can't do it because of Title IX, and your balance is going to be completely off, and there'll be a lot of criticism for that. So that's a great statement also, that the women are going to come in and save basically wrestling.
They likely will.
The most part.
And in the process of doing so, they create opportunity for women in a sport that a lot of people, the black licorice, that people love to go watch.
Absolutely, because I remember when we had district wrestling and stuff, there was always that one or two rogue girls that were coming from Keystone High School to wrestle. It's like, hey, we got to get a separate locker room, we got to do a separate weigh-in for her, that sort of thing. And now it's expanded so much that it's the sport is growing, and I think the sport is growing, and I think it'll continue to grow as time goes on with everything. So, any final comments?
Yeah, I mean, just on one more thing on that, like I have a young daughter, she's 7, and I don't know whether she'll want to wrestle or not. She kind of, one minute she says she wants to, and then she's got baby dolls out. So, and it doesn't matter to me if she wants to do it or she doesn't.
Right.
But what's interesting about it is when your daughter comes to you now and says, I might want to wrestle, there was a long period of time where you had to be kind of like, I don't know. And now you can encourage it. Now there's there's an avenue for her to really go be great if she wants to do it, and for the first time. So
Yeah.
it is like, it really, it's a real thing when you're raising girls that if they want to wrestle, they can, and they don't necessarily have to be a pioneer or, they don't have to be a trailblazer. They can just be an athlete, and that's pretty cool.
Well, I think administration needs to get behind something like this to try to, because I think all the universities in our surrounding area and everything else are scrambling to get more students. And for years and years, it was like, we're going to add women's lacrosse. Well, we've been trying to add women's lacrosse here at the university for the last 10 years, and we haven't been able to pull that off right now with everything. So with the wrestling avenue, I think it's important, and I want to go back to something I said earlier in the show and everything. We needed some stability in our program, and you're the young man that brought it in, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck, and you've done a great job with the program. Continued success to you, your program, your family, and everything else.
I appreciate having
Pleasure having you tonight and everything.
Yeah, thanks.
That'll do it for tonight's Redbank Chevrolet Main Street Sports Show. Owen Krebs probably be back with you next week for another exciting guest. Until then, have a good week, everybody. Enjoy the weather.